What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Salami squad around the world? How we doing today? The Meat Pack is in the building. It's your boy Mike Rodgers, got Mike Richman in the cut. So the boys are back in town. We got this man, Karl the HotDog, posted up here. And all three of us about to go under center real quick because we got some football news to talk about. We got some big names in the NFL with a shaky, unpredictable future. So we're here to talk about a few of these things. The first person we're going to talk about is this man, Julio Jones, who obviously is still on the Atlanta Falcons right now, but had a little
out of there, Shannon Sharp.
Had a little bit of a little controversy, I guess you call it, for play devil's advocate. But
you think he knew he was on the air, bro?
Undisputed Live. So this is what happened. Undisputed. This man, obviously Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless, phenomenal show, by the way. Love those two. Love the dynamic. Uncle Shannon, bro. Is up there, dude, doing his business as usual. Decides to give Julio Jones a phone call in the middle of the show. They get discussing some things and asking some questions. Julio Jones said that he's out of Atlanta, whatnot. They were talking some back and forth about Dallas and whatnot, if he'd ever play there and whatnot. He said he wouldn't, but Julio Jones verbally said on live television, I don't know whether he knew this or not. Yeah. Apparently he did not know he was on live television. And listen, my thing, I don't think Shannon meant any had any bad intention by doing that. To me, I would like to believe there's no way that would have happened unless Julio Jones knew. But
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Looking at the other side of this, though, too, super weird thing happens on Twitter after this. Because, obviously this blows up the sports world. Not a whole lot is going on. So you get some news like this. It's pretty juicy.
Pretty big.
The Atlanta Falcons actual Twitter account posted the link to that breaking story saying Julio Jones wants out of Atlanta with no context. So from the organizational standpoint, what the fuck kind of move is that about? I don't know what's going on. This whole thing is just super weird. Did he know he was on the air? Maybe it was planned. Maybe he
all orchestrated.
That's what I'm saying. We just have no idea what's going on.
Falcons know about it. Everything. Maybe there's just some big ruse to, get Julio Jones out of there as just quick as possible or as efficient as possible. I don't quite know. So, obviously the question arises of, where would Julio Jones go if dealt? Now, I do want to speak about the Falcons quick for a second, though, because my biggest thing here is obviously in the draft, number 4 pick, they looked to go Kyle Pitts. They didn't go a quarterback, which I think is a smart move because I think Matt Ryan is still a very good quarterback, and he's got a couple years left on his deal at a lot of money. So no one was going to bite on the Matt Ryan. So my thing is you should be all in right now to win. You know what I'm saying? You got Matt Ryan, former MVP, been to the Super Bowl. You obviously have, Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. You just went and got a monster of a tight end. They still need a lot of help on defense, which they're slowly addressing. But you got if Matt Ryan's your quarterback for the next 2 years, you have a 2-year window to go ahead and do this thing. If they would have gotten another quarterback, we could have seen they could have got rid of some pieces and looked to rebuild and whatnot. But since Matt Ryan is your QB1, this team to me needs to win football games right now. It's me dealing Julio Jones. Doesn't make any sense in that department. I do say, however, I think Calvin Ridley is going to step up and be huge. Calvin Ridley is a phenomenal young player.
He already did that with Julio.
Julio. I don't know if he's a number one. We got to think for a second. Julio Jones, arguably a top 5 wide receiver.
Whoa, bro. Let's step back for a second because you're 1,000% right. All right. We're talking about averaging the most receiving yards per game of all time. He averages 95.5 a game. You know who's number 2, bro? Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson, who's sitting at 86.1. He's got number 2 by 10 yards still playing. Do not get it twisted. Julio Jones is Hall of Fame, one of the best receivers to ever do it. Absolute freak athlete. So,
he could retire right now. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it.
But so with that being said, though, in my opinion, how is this not a ring chasing situation for Julio? Why would he not want to go to the team that's got the most likely chance of him getting a ring? Because his window, honestly, is 2 to 3 years. He's going to retire within that. He's just at the end of the road. You take a lot of damage at that wide receiver position, running those routes, tearing his fucking knees up. So I think he's looking for a ring here. I got a couple side teams I think I like here where I would like to see him. And then I got one team where I think the move is going to be made here. So getting into the side teams, I really like New England. They've just never really had that big body dude. They had Randy Moss for a little bit, but this past offseason, they bolstered up that offense, picking up 2 huge tight ends, and they're really just missing that star receiver. So, I mean, Julio could be that dude in New England. Kind of makes a fit. Him and Cam, both Atlanta boys. I mean, hey, bro, that could be some right there. Second team, I kind of like San Fran, and financially, they can absorb his contract. But the problem with this team has just been injury for the past 2-3 years. I mean, just off the cusp of a Super Bowl. Honestly, I mean, it could have been right back there again if their whole team was healthy. So another piece I think would be great. And then a third just long shot team here, bro. I got the fucking Packers. And you know why? Because they're just messing around right now with all this A-Rod stuff. What if this is their saving grace? They're like, here's what we're going to give you, A-Rod. We're going to go get Julio Jones for you. Please stay. I do not think that's going to happen at all. I just like spitting the speculation there. And then finally, bro, I think this is what's going to happen. He's going to go to the Colts. I think they got about $22 million left in cap space. That's right about where Julio's going to cost, so they can fit him. And just looking at the receiving core on this team as a whole, I mean, they need a veteran presence over there. I mean, they got T.Y. Hilton, again, on the back end of his career, also trying to chase some rings right now. They got young Michael Pittman, new Carson Wentz in there. They got that strong 3-headed monster in the running back game. I mean, I just think Colts are a perfect fit for Julio here.
No, and I mean, that's the thing. Obviously, the Packers would be nice. Green, they don't even know if Rodgers is going to be there. I'd like to see him go to the Bucs. Obviously, we'd like to see Julio Jones go to one of those teams, get that ring and whatnot. I do think, however, New England makes a lot of sense. Like you said,
a good fit.
Billy Belichick's probably only got a couple more years doing this thing, you know what I'm saying? So they spent the most money this offseason. I think they got a really nice team going on. They're bringing back a lot of defensive players from last year that opted out.
Well, if you remember the offseason, bro, Bill Belichick and squad rebuilt that team in 4 days. Done.
Honestly, in 4 days, a whole different ball club. And I mean, honestly, Cam Newton, numbers-wise, really didn't perform.
Cam's going to have a year this year, dude. I'm confident on that.
They didn't really have anything they didn't have any really weapons for him. And so, I mean, obviously, I think the Indianapolis, I mean, I think that makes the most sense now that I think about it. I mean, you got a guy in T.Y. Hilton who, at one point in time, I mean, to me, T.Y. has been an underrated guy in this league for a long time. At one point in time was a number one. And so, I mean, if I'm the Colts right now, who has probably the second best offensive line in football, has a great running back trio, got some solid pieces. Darius Leonard's top 3 linebacker in the league. They got a really good team. They're ready to win now. Obviously, a lot of this is going to come on, what kind of Carson Wentz we get this year, but go get this man, Julio Jones. Let's solidify that. Give him a piece. I think T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pitt Jr. are going to be great receivers. But I don't think they're a 1 and 2. I think that's a 2 and 3. You go out and get Julio Jones, get a big body dude. One, show Carson Wentz you obviously want him there. We want to win right now. But I think that's going to be your best chance to win right now. Carson Wentz is obviously, whether it's something mental going on right now, is going to need all the help he can get. And I mean, the Colts are ready to win. They just went 11-5 with Phillip Rivers. You know what I mean? So they got a chance to be better this year. I think they will be better this year. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, San Fran makes a lot of sense too. You know what I'm saying? That'd be a good transition. I mean, this is going to be Jimmy G's last year probably as the San Francisco 49ers, maybe a year or two. They've made it clear that, oh boy, there is going to be the future of this football team. So, I mean, go get Julio Jones. That will last him for this year to go all in right now, and then you'll have him next year as well if they decide to bring in, what's his name? I can't remember dude's name, to go ahead and, maybe get a year with Julio Jones, very experienced wide receiver. So, I mean, there's a lot of options. I mean, Atlanta could just fuck around and deal him to the fucking Jacksonville Jaguars.
The crazy thing is, like, Atlanta's really only going to get about a first round for it. It'll be one first round pick and then a couple extras.
You probably get a first and maybe a couple fifths or something. They're not going to get a huge haul for that. I mean, as great as Julio Jones is, dude, it's
the longevity of it. Exactly.
It's the money, it's the age, it's the injury stuff, and whatnot. So, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think if they adjust a couple pieces on defense, I mean, I still think Atlanta is a good move for Julio.
I thought Atlanta was going to be the ring-chasing team. Well, as soon as they drafted Kyle Pitts, I mean, they literally their stock went to the moon, bro. Honestly, I really thought he was going to stay there. They were going to try to figure it out. Because we did a video on this about 4 months ago. They had the same drama during the regular season with Julio, not knowing if he was going to stay or not. So, very shocking move for me that, it's kind of out in the open that he's going to get dealt now. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what he does. He might fuck around and end up in Philly, bro. Hey,
Yeah, bro. Good luck getting a couple targets there. But so yeah, excited to see what happens with Julio, where he gets moved on to if he does. But we got to reel back a little bit. We brought a name up earlier that's also been in some news himself lately. That's the man Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
Or
Obviously,
is he?
or is he, dude? Thumbnail. But yeah, it's been a little controversy going around in Green Bay here, and I mean, I know this subject is getting beaten to death by every single media outlet and whatnot, within good reason. And I mean, overall, I mean, here's my thing with Aaron Rodgers. I don't really know what he's doing right now. I don't really know what he's doing right now. I've heard him say a couple things here and there as to why he's upset with the organization and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's my thing. I want to talk to the fans right here, Green Bay Packer fans right here. I mean, my thing with this whole situation is I keep hearing they're not getting him any help thing. I keep hearing that a lot.
You know who Devontae Adams is?
I mean, here's my thing. Let's be honest about last year. Let's grade this at the Pro Football Focus type thing. I mean, they had a top 3 offensive line. You had a top 3 running back in Aaron Jones. You had a top 3 receiving core. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, They had a couple holes on defense, but they had some nice players on defense too. So I've been hearing this thing to where they get to the NFC Championship because Aaron Rodgers is phenomenal and whatnot and all this and that, and then, has a bad NFC Championship game. Obviously, a couple plays were made on defense to help that, but then we turn around and we're saying, well, it's because he doesn't have any help. Like, no way. We got to pick one here.
I don't like that argument. Yeah.
We got to pick one here. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a phenomenal player, top 5, top 10 quarterback of all time. But I mean, to think that this man hasn't had any help throughout the years, to me, is preposterous. Look at the team that won the Super Bowl 10 years ago. I mean, we're talking Hall of Famers on that team.
Oh, for real?
Here and tell me Tom Brady has won Super Bowls with worse teams, I think. You know what I'm saying? So I want to give Aaron Rodgers his credit right now. I mean, this dude is, like I said, a legend. And you know what I mean? I don't understand some of the frustrations as far as the organization. I know the problem is they don't have an owner, so it's very hard for him to have direct talk with people. I know a lot of decisions get made. I don't know. Do I think he ends up going somewhere? I personally don't. I think they figure out how to make this right and whatnot. He's got a lot of money left on his deal. Yeah. I know the whole thing with Julio and whatnot. I mean, I've said this multiple times throughout this NFL season about quarterbacks and how they get paid. Obviously, the quarterback is the premier position. You get all the credit. You sometimes take none of the blame. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like a lot of times throughout his career, Aaron Rodgers hasn't held himself accountable as much as he should, being the quarterback. You can't be the face and then go away when things get bad. You know what I'm saying? But you're paying a dude $30-40 million a year. You really put a stranglehold on your roster. I mean, to me, as we've said it before, Tom Brady, I mean, I'm taking $10 less million a year because go out and get these veterans. Yeah. Go get me a couple guys. I'm not blaming Aaron Rodgers for wanting to get that money. You know what I'm saying? Go get that bag. He's going to be the Jeopardy host whenever he retires. He'll probably ride that out to the sunset. They're probably going to pull up with a Brinks truck for his ass to go host that. But
as they should, bro. Great. You did.
I just don't know how many more moves or what else they could get him to make this right. I know the whole Jordan Love thing. I said about the Jordan Love thing. I mean, for them, I don't think they would ever turn around and trade him because I don't think that organization wants to admit that we fucked up.
Well, I don't even necessarily think they fucked up. Let's reel back and let's talk about Brett Favre now, who is doing exactly what Aaron Rodgers is doing right now. And they got Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they obviously are just looking to the future. So in retrospect,
for looking into the future.
In retrospect, I don't hate the Jordan Love pick at all. I understand the argument from Packers fans who are saying we're one game away from the Super Bowl. Why are you drafting the future? I get it, but I think in 10 years that conversation is irrelevant.
I believe that 100%.
So I don't know. It's just such a weird situation. I think I don't know why it's so public. I think it does have to do with the lack of just sports right now. It's off season for the NFL. I mean, we're seeing posts of Aaron Rodgers hanging out with Miles Teller in Hawaii doing some shit. I mean, obviously just trying to relax and having to deal with all this shit. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he snaps. I mean, Aaron Rodgers himself has to be frustrated. You know, whether it's his fault, wherever the blame is, he doesn't have a ring yet. And that's got to piss him off, knowing the caliber of play he has. And
he doesn't have a ring yet.
Rodgers?
He has one.
All right, I'm totally wrong about that. But I don't know. I don't know where all the drama is coming from is what I'm saying. I don't understand why the Green Bay Packers organization doesn't want to re-sign the NFL MVP. And I don't understand why if he wants more weapons, why isn't he willing to take a pay cut? He's obviously got it like that. So I think the whole thing is just kind of whack. I agree with you. I do think it ends up settling one way or the other. I think he stays in Green Bay. I just can't see him in another uniform.
I mean, it's not only that. I just don't know. I mean, what teams right now you think would drop?
Who can pay him? Who can pay him?
Well, one, who could pay him? But I mean, we're looking around the league right now. I mean, name me 3 spots that. I mean, besides maybe Denver, I think all day, of course. But I think for the amount of pay and the age, I don't think there's a lot of teams that would take Aaron Rodgers over their current quarterback. And that's not.
I mean, especially after the draft. I think if a move was going to be made for him, it would have been pre-draft before we got a lot of this young QB class out there. Because a lot of the teams that were hurting, were in the conversation for give us Aaron Rodgers.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, all in all, I mean, I'd like to say, hey, if he decides to stay with the Packers, maybe does what Brady did with the whole Deflategate. He comes out next year on a revenge tour and just tears the season up. I mean, he can't really have a better season than he had last year.
He's MVP, bro.
But, I mean, I think this whole notion of and commentary about, like, he had no help and whatnot, I think is absolutely blasphemous.
I mean, Robert Tonyan had one of the craziest improvement years of ever as tight end, catching mad balls. We all know what Devontae Adams did week in, week out. Honestly, could have been in the MVP race. So,
and I mean, they had a good rotational thing of players. They had, Marquez.
Well, I'm saying, I don't understand the no help as well. I mean, the problem for this team, and every analyst said this all through last season, the problem is defense, not the offense. Aaron Rodgers has help. Like, they're fine.
They're fine. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited to see how this unfolds. Does he end up with a new team? Does he not? I don't know. I'm hyped to find out. We got a lot more shit. Definitely quiet season right now for the sports for the most part. I mean, so a lot of these little stories and whatnot are getting blown out of proportion. But I'm excited. I'm along for the ride. I'm hyped to see what goes down the next couple of weeks, months, or whatever days. That being said, though, the Meat Pack Salami Squad, the fuck out of here.
Perfect.